My name is Stella, and what I am about to share with you is not a dream. It is not a rumor. It is not even a story I heard from someone else. No, this is my life, my reality, my nightmare, and it all began with love. When I first met Stephen, he was the kind of man every girl prayed for. Handsome, calm, respectful, ambitious. The first day he spoke to me, his smile disarmed me. His voice was gentle, his words carefully chosen. "You are too beautiful to be walking alone," he said. I laughed. He walked with me, and before I knew it, we were spending hours together. Stephen was different from the other men. He didn't rush things. He treated me like a queen. But there was something else I noticed. Something small. Something I ignored. Stephen was very close to his mother. Whenever we went out, his phone would ring. And guess who it always was? Mama. If I asked him, "Stephen, should we go to the cinema?" he would reply, "Let me ask Mama first." If I said, "Stephen, should we travel next weekend?" he would reply, "Mama doesn't like me traveling too much. I'll ask her." At first, I thought it was sweet. This man loves his mother dearly, I told myself. And in our culture, isn't that a good thing? A man who honors his mother will surely treat his wife well, right? But as months passed, I realized something. Stephen didn't just respect his mother. He was controlled by her. On our wedding day, I saw the first real sign. The pastor declared, "You may now kiss the bride." Stephen leaned forward, kissed me quickly, and the crowd cheered. But before I could even blink, he turned and ran straight to his mother. He hugged her tightly. He lifted her off her feet. He laughed and danced with her. The hall echoed with cheers. Aunties clapped. Uncles nodded approvingly. "That is a good son," they said. But I stood there, smiling on the outside, breaking on the inside. Because in that moment, I felt invisible on my own wedding day. I should have listened to my spirit that day. But I told myself, "Stella, don't be jealous. He loves his mother, but he loves you too." Oh, how wrong I was. After the wedding, I expected to finally enjoy my marriage. The first years, they say, are the sweetest. The laughter, the late-night talks, the building of a home together. But in my home, there was always a third person. Mama. She visited often. Sometimes she stayed for weeks. And Stephen. He was happiest when she was around. If I cooked, Stephen ate silently. But when Mama cooked, he praised her endlessly. "Mama, nobody can cook like you. Mama, you are the best." I began to feel like a stranger in my own kitchen. At night, I wanted to hold him close, to feel the warmth of my husband. But he pushed me gently. "I'm tired, Stella. Let me sleep." Sometimes, I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, wondering, why does my husband show more joy with his mother than with me? But every morning, when Mama brought him food or tea, he smiled like a child. I began to question myself. Was I failing as a wife? Was I too needy? Too jealous? I didn't know. All I knew was that I felt myself losing him. It wasn't long before the community noticed too. At family gatherings, Stephen sat beside Mama. He fetched her food, served her drinks, laughed at her jokes. One of my cousins teased me. "Stella, your husband looks at Mama more than he looks at you." I forced a laugh. But my chest tightened. The elders whispered, "That boy is too tied to his mother. His wife must be patient." Patient. How long could I be patient? Then it began. One night, I woke up suddenly. The room was dark, the air heavy. I turned to Stephen's side of the bed. Empty. Cold. I sat up, panicked. Where was he? I listened carefully. From down the hallway, faint footsteps. My heart raced. My mouth went dry. He didn't return quickly. He was gone for hours. When he finally came back, he smelled faintly of incense and sweat. Asked the next morning, "Stephen, where did you go last night?" He laughed casually. "You're dreaming, Stella. Don't stress yourself." But I knew I was not dreaming. Night after night, the same thing. The clock struck midnight. Stephen slipped out of bed. His footsteps down the hall. The faint creak of Mama's door. And hours later, he returned. Every time, my heart grew heavier. Every time, my suspicion grew darker. What could a man be doing in his mother's room at such hours? And that was the beginning of my nightmare. Because one night, I decided to follow. One night, I decided I could no longer ignore it. And what I found changed my life forever. They say when the wind blows too long at night, it carries secrets. For me, those secrets lived in my own home. In the quiet steps of my husband. In the soft creak of his mother's door. In the silence that returned before dawn. And every night, my suspicion grew. That night, I waited. The lantern in our room was off. My body lay still under the wrapper. But my eyes were wide open, fixed on Stephen. He tossed, turned, sighed. Then slowly, carefully, he slipped out of bed. My chest tightened. My fingers gripped the wrapper. He tiptoed to the door, opened it gently, closed it behind him. I rose immediately. My feet moved soundlessly. My heart thudded like a masquerade drum. I followed him, down the hallway, past the kitchen, past the sitting room, and then I saw him at Mama's door. He paused, like a thief about to enter forbidden ground. Then the knob turned. The door creaked open, and he disappeared inside. I stood frozen in the hallway. My mind screamed, "Follow him! See what he is doing!" But my body trembled. My knees shook. I pressed my ear to the door. At first, nothing. Silence. Then, whispers. Low. Murmured. I couldn't catch the words, but the tone was too soft, too intimate. My hand flew to my mouth. My chest pounded. I staggered back and ran to our room before I collapsed. That night, I didn't sleep. I lay awake, shaking, waiting for him to return. When he finally came back, his face was calm, his breathing steady, as if nothing had happened. I turned away and closed my eyes, pretending to sleep. But inside I was breaking. It continued, night after night. Each time, my fear deepened. Each time, my spirit warned me. By day, he was my husband. By night, he became a stranger. I began to watch his face carefully in the daytime. The way he smiled at Mama. The way his eyes softened when she entered the room. The way he jumped at her every call. It was no longer love. It was something darker. Even the community began to notice. One evening, during a family gathering, one of the aunties pulled me aside. "Stella, my daughter, forgive me for asking, but does your husband sleep well at night?" I frowned. "What do you mean, auntie?" She lowered her voice. "People say they see him moving around late at night. Some even say he is always in his mother's quarters." My heart dropped. My mouth went dry. I forced a smile. "Auntie, people will always talk." But inside, her words pierced me. The whispers were spreading. Others had noticed. How long before the truth became too big to hide? That night, when Stephen returned from Mama's room, I could no longer hold it in. I sat up on the bed, my wrapper clutched to my chest. "Stephen, where do you always go at night?" He froze. His eyes narrowed. "What do you mean?" he asked. I swallowed hard. "I know you leave the bed. I hear your footsteps. I know you go to Mama's room." His face darkened. His jaw tightened. "Are you accusing me of something, Stella?" My voice cracked. "I am your wife. If you cannot tell me where you go, who else will you tell?" He stepped closer, his eyes cold. "Stella, do not go where your mind cannot return from." My blood froze. His voice was sharp, final, like a knife cutting the air. I trembled, tears streaming down my face. "Stephen, I am your wife. Please, do not shut me out." But he turned away, lay on the bed, closed his eyes, and the room fell into silence. The next morning, I tried again. Over breakfast, I said softly, "Stephen, I am worried. About the nights. About Mama. About us." He slammed his cup down, his eyes blazing. "Enough, Stella. If you love your peace, stop asking questions." Mama entered at that moment, carrying a tray of food. She looked at me, then at him. Her lips curved into a knowing smile. And I shivered. Days passed. Nights passed. And each night, Stephen left the bed. Each night, he entered Mama's room. Each night, I lay awake, my mind screaming, my body paralyzed. I grew pale. I stopped eating. My friends asked if I was ill. But how could I tell them the truth? How could I explain that my husband was vanishing into darkness every midnight? Finally, one night I decided enough was enough. I would no longer wait by the door. I would no longer hide in silence. I would open the door. I would see with my own eyes. And that, my brothers and sisters, was the night I caught them. The night that ended my peace forever. They say curiosity killed the cat. But in my case, curiosity killed my marriage. For weeks, I lived in silence. For weeks, I listened to my husband's footsteps. For weeks, I prayed to God, let it not be what I think it is. But prayer without truth is empty. And that night, I went to find the truth myself. It was past midnight. I lay still on the bed, wrapper pulled tightly around me, eyes wide open. Stephen sighed, turned, and rose from the bed. I did not move. He tiptoed to the door. Slipped out. The moment the door closed, I sat up, my whole body trembling. This time, I would not just listen. This time, I would see. I walked down the hallway, my heart pounding, my breath shallow. The house was quiet, but the silence was heavy, like it was holding its breath with me. And then I saw him. At Mama's door. He stood there a moment, looking left and right. Then, slowly, he turned the knob, and went inside. I crept forward until I stood at the very door. My palm was damp with sweat. My knees shook. I pressed my ear to the wood. At first, only whispers. Soft. Intimate. Familiar. Then laughter. A low, strange laughter that sent shivers down my spine. And then, sounds. Sounds that no daughter-in-law should ever hear from that room. I gasped, stumbling back. No, no, God forbid. It cannot be. I pressed my hands to my ears, but the sounds slipped through. My chest burned, my throat tightened. I felt my world crumbling. But still I had to know. Still I had to see. With trembling hands, I pushed the door open. And my eyes, oh my eyes, what they saw, I will never forget until my grave. There they were. Stephen. And Mama. Not sitting. Not praying. Not talking. No. They were locked together in the most forbidden way. My scream tore from my throat before I even knew it. A raw, broken scream that shook the walls. Stephen! Mama! Jesus Christ of Nazareth! What is this? They froze. Both turned to me. Stephen's face was not ashamed. Not guilty. No. It was angry. His eyes blazed. His jaw clenched. Stella! He roared. What are you doing here? Mama did not cover herself, did not shrink in shame. Instead, she smiled. A strange, chilling smile. I staggered into the room, tears pouring down my face. Stephen, how could you? With your own mother. Abomination. Tufi aqua. May thunder strike this evil. He stepped forward, fists clenched, his body trembling with rage. You were warned, Stella. I told you not to come here. I shook my head violently, backing away. Warned? You are my husband. What evil is this? How can you betray me, betray God, betray the very earth with this wickedness? Mama finally spoke. Her voice was calm, mocking. My daughter, calm yourself. You are shouting too much. You do not understand what you see. I turned on her, my chest heaving. Understand. What is there to understand? This is filth. This is madness. This is evil. She laughed. A soft, eerie laugh. One day you will see. But for now, close your mouth. What happens here is beyond you. Stephen's eyes darkened. His voice was like thunder. Stella, listen to me carefully. If you value your life, you will forget what you saw tonight. You will never speak of it. Not to your friends. Not to your family. Not to the community. Do you hear me? I sobbed, my voice shaking. Stephen, you are my husband. You were supposed to protect me, honor me, cherish me. But this is evil. If you will not stop, then I will leave this house. His words cut me deeper than any blade. Then leave. You are the outsider here. This is my blood, my family. You have no place in it. I staggered back, holding my chest. My world collapsed. I ran from the room, my cries echoing through the compound. Back in our bedroom, I collapsed on the floor, clutching my wrapper. I screamed into the pillow, screaming until my voice broke. How could this be? How could my husband, my Stephen, choose this abomination over me? The next morning, I could not meet their eyes. At breakfast, Stephen sat calmly, eating as if nothing had happened. Mama smiled sweetly, offering me food. My hands trembled. My stomach churned. I could not eat. Stephen looked at me once, his eyes sharp, cold. Remember what I told you, Stella. If you cannot accept it, pack your things and go. Mama added softly, My daughter, do not trouble yourself. In time, you will understand. Her words sent chills down my spine. That night, I lay awake, eyes wide, body shaking. And then, they came. Stephen, Mama, together. They sat by my bedside, their faces calm, their eyes unblinking. And what they told me next was darker than anything I had ever seen, because they said it was not sin, not shame, but a ritual. And soon, they wanted me to join. They say every family hides a secret. Some secrets are small, like quarrels behind closed doors. Others are heavy, like curses passed from generation to generation. But the secret I discovered in my husband's family was darker than anything I could have imagined. I lay in bed, eyes wide open, wrapper clutched tightly to my chest. Sleep had abandoned me long ago. Then I heard the door creak. Stephen entered. Behind him, Mama. They did not speak. They simply sat, one on my left, one on my right. Their faces calm, their eyes fixed on me. The air in the room felt heavy, thick, like smoke I could not breathe. Finally, Mama spoke. Her voice was low, almost gentle. "Stella, what you saw last night, what you have been suspecting, it is not what you think." I whispered, my lips trembling. "What else can it be? I saw you with my own eyes. It is abomination. It is wickedness." Stephen leaned forward, his eyes blazing. "It is not wickedness. It is tradition. It is survival. It is the way of our bloodline." Mama nodded slowly. "In our family, there is a covenant, a bond passed down for generations. It requires a mother and her son to connect in a sacred way. If we do not, death will come for him. The line will end." Her words struck me like lightning. I gasped. "What madness is this? Who told you such evil? Which god demands such filth?" Mama's eyes glowed strangely in the lantern light. "You call it filth because you do not understand. But if you saw your husband fall dead before you, would you still mock this ritual? Would you not do anything to save him?" I shook my head violently, tears spilling. "God forbid. This is not tradition. It is witchcraft. It is a curse." Stephen slammed his fist against the bed. "It is not a curse. It is the reason I am alive today. My mother kept me breathing. And now, it is your turn." My voice cracked. "My turn." Mama leaned closer, her breath cold against my ear. "Yes. When you bear your first son, Stella, you must do the same. Or else, he will die before his manhood." I screamed, covering my ears. "No. I will never do such evil. I will never touch my own child in that way. May heaven strike me first." Stephen's hand shot out, gripping my arm tightly. His nails dug into my skin. "Then you condemn our child to death. You condemn our bloodline to end." I sobbed uncontrollably, shaking my head. "Better the bloodline ends than for me to commit such sin. You are blind, Stephen. Blind to the devil's chains around you." Mama's voice turned sharp, her eyes fierce. "You foolish girl. Do you think you can fight against generations of tradition? You are only one woman. If you refuse, you will regret it." The days that followed were like a living nightmare. Stephen no longer spoke to me as a husband. He spoke to me as a guardian of the ritual. Every night, he reminded me, "When the time comes, Stella, you will obey, or you will leave my house in shame." Mama cornered me in the kitchen, her voice cold as ice. "You are my daughter now. But if you disgrace this family, I will turn you into an enemy. And you know what happens to enemies in our land." Her words sent chills down my spine. I realized I was trapped. Alone in a house where mother and son shared a dark covenant. Alone with a truth too terrible to share. I thought of running to the elders. But what proof did I have? Would they believe me over Mama, a respected widow in the community? I thought of running to my own family. But how would I even explain? Would they not think I was mad? At night, I prayed. I cried to God, "Deliver me from this darkness. Show me a way of escape." But each dawn, the same nightmare continued. Mama's smirk, Stephen's cold eyes, the looming threat of a ritual I would never accept. One evening, as the sun dipped behind the hills, Mama stood before me. Her wrapper was tied firmly, her staff in hand. Her presence filled the room like a storm. "Stella," she said, her voice calm but sharp, "the choice is simple. When your son is born, you join us. Or you bury him before his 12th year. Choose wisely." I trembled, my heart shattering. "I will never do it. Never." She leaned closer, her eyes like burning coals. Then pray, Stella. Pray your womb stays empty, because if it brings forth a son, and you refuse the covenant, blood will flow. And that, my brothers and sisters, is where my story ends for now. I live in this house of secrets. I sleep beside a man who is both my husband and his mother's son in ways no one should ever be. I eat from the hands of a mother-in-law who smiles with sweetness, but hides daggers in her words. And I carry the fear that one day, I will bear a son. So I ask you, my listeners, if you were in my shoes, what would you do? Would you stay and fight the darkness? Or would you run and leave it all behind?